And we're here with 304life.com. And
This is Casey Cakes. I'm originally from Minnesota.
how did you become a 304?
I was originally introduced to the game by my Square ex. His brother is a P, and my ex and I, we got into a situation where we needed some money fast, and he kind of brought it up, and I got into the game and doing just Backpage pretty much at the time, and got addicted to the game and the money, and here I am.
Okay, and how long ago was that? How long have you been a 304?
That was about 3 years ago.
And have you ever walked the track, and what was that like?
Yes, I have walked a couple of different tracks. The one I was turned out on was in Brooklyn, Pennsylvania, in Cozine. If anybody from New York knows anything about that, it's not the best neighborhood. It was definitely interesting and an experience to remember. P's going after you and having to stay in pocket and just learning the rules and I guess the way the game works on the blade. It was definitely different.
And have you ever gave a Square your cash?
No, not really. I mean, I supported my ex, but then he would support me right back, and that was before I was in the game. But not really. I never straight gave him like my money or all of it or anything.
And has a P ever hit you? If so, what for?
No, I've never had had a P put his hands on me. I've had him, maybe get mad or yell at me for the stupidest, littlest shit. It's been crazy, but I mean, I'm definitely happy where I'm at now.
So, how many years do you think you'll be in the game?
I know that a little part of me will always be, involved in the game as far as working. I really don't want to be in it any more than, 5 more years at the absolute max. Hopefully not even that long, but I mean, I know a little bit of me will always be involved in the game, whether it be running an escort agency or something like that. A piece of me will always be in the game.
Okay, and do you believe for a 304 that it's by choice or force?
It's absolutely by choice. I mean, you don't have to be in this game at all. There's many jobs, many good paying jobs out there. Not as good as paying, but there are plenty of jobs out there. It's definitely by choice. I mean, especially for a 304 that has folks, that's absolutely by choice. I mean, they don't have to be there, at least in any situation I've ever been in. It's by choice. Why be there if you're not happy?
And what about vacations? Do 304 vacations?
Yeah, I mean, we get to travel at the same time, or at least I have traveled while working. So, I mean, some vacations are working vacations, but there's absolutely the ability to take time off. I mean, it all depends on how, your folks run the program or how your program is run, but I mean, there's definitely opportunities to take vacations, and why not make money if you can at the same time?
And you said a lot of it's on the road, so how many days a year would you say you live in a hotel?
I mean, I don't even necessarily live in a hotel. I do have, a home a place that I can call home. But I'm in a hotel probably, at least lately, I would say over the past 2.5 years, I've been in a hotel probably at least, 300 days out of the year, but haven't necessarily lived at them. I could always go back to my apartment, or anything like that.
Okay, and what do you think the difference is between a 304, a hoe, a thought, and an escort?
To me, a 304 is one that, embodies it as a whole, can do, any shape, because there's many different ways of being a 304 or a hoe. There's carpet work, there's blade work, there's, Backpage, there's sugar daddy websites, there's all these different ways of making money, blogs, everything, any way and anything you can imagine, there's a way to make money off of it. So I would say my definition of a 304 is someone that embodies it as a whole and can make money any way possible and isn't scared to do it. I guess a hoe would be someone to me that is just might just do, one or a couple of those things. And to me, an escort is someone that would just do like the online side of things, back page, arrows, things like that. And as far as a thought, that's someone who doesn't get paid to do this.
So what would you say your favorite thing about the job is?
My favorite thing and the thing that excites me the most is honestly when my daddy comes to break me, or when I go, to meet him to break myself, and it just gives me the best feeling in the world. And to some people out there that might be crazy, but that's the best feeling in the world is being able to break myself to him, and especially when it's a nice trap.
And has a trick ever made you want to fall for him, like a Casanova trick?
I have yet to come across one of those. I've had a few try, but it's not gonna happen. I like what I do and am not looking at settling down with a trick ever.
And the money's good, obviously. What's the most money you've ever made in a night, would you say?
In a night, or in I guess I kind of base it off of a 24-hour period, from check-in to check-out, or when you would have to renew your room. The most I've ever made was right around, I want to say, 12 or 1300, and it was actually in less than 24 hours because I checked in late that day. I remember it. And I had made, like I said, about 12 or 1300, and it was in South New Jersey, just outside of Atlantic City.
And how much is the most you've ever made in a week, would you say?
I couldn't even count that because, it honestly, it varies. Days can be slow, days when you get to an area, it all depends. But the minimum I make in a day is probably 700 or so. So I mean, take that times 7, I would say be the minimum, but I don't know the most I've made.
What's the wildest place that you ever turned a trick?
The craziest place I've ever turned a trick, it would probably have to be when I was on the track in Queens, New York. Yep, it was Roosevelt, Roro, as I call it, and I was in somebody's driveway, and they pulled in and caught us, and because apparently the trick didn't live there, but he had told me that he did, so I thought everything would be okay, but obviously it wasn't.
Speaking of things being okay, have you ever done anything unprotected?
Never, and I never will. Ever. That's my life, my safety, everything is protected.
And do you see men only or also women?
I've only ever seen men. I don't feel comfortable seeing women. It's not because of my sexuality or anything. It's because of, I guess, with me, it's because I feel like they're more easily, like, how do you determine whether they're police or not? You can't really touch on them. I just don't feel safe doing it because I feel more so that they might be police or law enforcement.
And what age did you get turned out?
I got turned out at the age of, I started the game when I was 25, but I would say I was truly actually turned out when I was about 26 going on 27. Because that's when I got my real first folks, my turnout folks, or who I consider my turnout. Everybody before then never really taught me anything and was just, to me, now that I've learned a lot more, a square just getting paid. Technically. They just didn't teach me much, didn't learn much.
So are you independent then?
No, I am not independent. I have folks, and I am insanely happy where I'm at.
Okay, have you traded anything for sex?
No, no program I've ever been involved in ever has allowed it, and I will not do it. If they want to bring extras, I accept it as a tip, but I will not trade. I have to have, my standard rates as the basis.
And what about your family? Do they know what you do?
I think they might know or might have assumptions.
So what do they think?
I think my brother knows because one of his childhood college buddies or whatever found my ad when I was working back home in my hometown and told my brother. I think my brother told my dad, but I covered it up enough with my dad where my dad doesn't think that I do. None of my other family has any idea. I tell them that I'm on the road, or they don't even necessarily know what specific state I'm at all times. I'm always in contact with them, and they know that I'm safe and good and, not on drugs or anything like that, but they don't necessarily know specifically where I'm at all times.
And has a trick ever tricked you or stolen money?
They've tried to, but never gotten away with it. Luckily, they've never tried. They've tried, but they've never gotten away with anything.
What's the biggest mistake you ever made on a date?
The biggest mistake I ever made was probably I don't know, that's a hard one. Mistake-wise, just maybe not, when I first got into the game, not having a concept of time without looking at a clock. Now I've gotten a concept of time, so I know, not exactly how long it's been, but I have a feeling of how long a date's going on. But in the beginning, I didn't know, and they probably got more time than they actually paid for.
Okay. So what would you say your biggest no-no is then?
My biggest no-no, or my number one rule is, it goes back to the question you asked earlier, is protection. Protection is an absolute must. I will not do anything bareback. I will not do anything uncovered. I will not kiss.
And do you ever enjoy your dates?
I have yet to actually enjoy a date. It isn't the trick itself or the date itself that turns me on. It's the it's the money and the other aspects of the game, but it's never never a trick that actually turns me on.
So you don't have any favorite clients or ones that you hook up with discounts or?
No, I don't give anybody necessarily discounts, but I do have regulars and clients that I do enjoy the the time, but I don't necessarily enjoy the actual act of the date. But I enjoy them. I trust them. I can have a decent conversation with them, and and the date can go smoothly. Where if they wanted to go somewhere and I had to act like their girlfriend, I could do it if I was getting paid.
Describe your craziest or most unusual request of a date.
I mean, I don't necessarily get a lot of unusual requests, but my number one request is Greek, and I don't really do that. I'm a virgin at that, but I get requests for golden or brown showers too, and I'll do a golden shower, but I've yet to do a brown shower. Nobody's been willing to pay what I expect for that.
Does being a 304 ever bother you, or do the requests ever bother you?
The requests don't get to me. I'm at this point, it's, I brushed off my shoulder. It is what it is. I either don't respond if it's something crazy off the wall, or, I come back with something even crazier to say to them. But no, it doesn't really get to me. In the beginning, though, it did.
So what would you say your least favorite part of the job is?
My least favorite part of the job is at times, it definitely does get lonely. You're in a room or you're out there working and you're not around the people that you care about, your team or your blood family. So it does get lonely at times, but you just have to get past that because you have to stay down for the come up, and the good outweighs the bad because you look forward to those days like the holidays. I know my family, the team that I'm on, we celebrate holidays to the fullest. I wasn't in the trap on Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to be in the trap on Christmas. So, you look forward, you have to think about those good times and, the times when you're going to be able to have the days off and whatnot.
Are the majority of your clients married? And if so, are you okay with them seeing you when they're married?
I don't get a lot of tricks. Once in a while, they'll tell me that they're, married or they have a girlfriend or what have you. But I really don't get a lot of tricks that will tell me, and it's not something I ask. If they are, they are. That's not mine and their business. What happens between us stays between us. I have had crazy girlfriends or wives text me and say, did my husband come see you? He seems to fancy your ad, but it doesn't, if they are, they are, but it doesn't bother me.
How would you feel then if your child wanted to explore the same profession?
Sorry, I'll have to edit that out. If one day that I have kids and it's something they want to do, I would hope that they don't, because, my goal in this is to, do this and, stack up enough money and, have other ventures, other businesses and whatnot, so they don't have to do this. It's not that I have to either. I got into the game because of choice, but, I would hope that they don't, but if they do, who am I to judge at the end of the day?
So how much would you say your monthly expenses are as an entertainer?
An average hotel room is about $100 a night. Obviously there's nights that there's less, but I know in New York, for even the cheap motels, it's $130 a night or more. So, you figure at least, that's what, $3,000 a month just off tops of hotels. And then, you have food, which is, depending on how your program is run, whether you eat out or, you go get grocery shopping, food costs can vary, but I would say at least, $20 to $30 a day. So that's another, grand or so a month at least, probably, if you go out to eat or, eat at high-end restaurants. And that's just food and hotels, but it can definitely get up there. But just off tops, hotels are at least $3,000 a month.
And are you worried about your salary decreasing as you get older, or do you have a plan for the years to come?
My folks definitely have a plan for me. I'm not worried about it decreasing. On the slow days, there's other things that you can do. That's why it's so important to build your brand and save up and have businesses and not solely depend on just the game. That's why you have to know how, on the slow days where the net might be slow, you have to know how to be able to walk outside and catch a date, or, finesse a trick off of Craigslist or, a dating site or a dating app. And, you have to know other ways to make money where if it is slow, you're not worried or stressed out.
Do you think they should be legalized?
I definitely am pro legalization, or at the very least decriminalization, where it would more so be just basically a ticket. There's definitely the pros in it. Just like legalizing marijuana, they would be able to, tax it. They would be able to keep a closer eye on it as far as, the like STD testing and STI testing. It could be required to be tested more often than, girls that really don't care. Those are just two of the main reasons, but, then you won't get in trouble for it either.
So, do you pay taxes?
No. I don't, not for this, because it's not legal, so how would you pay taxes on it?
If you got to pick again, would you do this for a living, or what would you do?
Yeah, I don't regret it. I don't regret my choice of, getting or, still being in the game. I didn't have to choose it. I, got the money that I needed to originally got in the game for, and I could have gotten out. I still had a legal job and everything, but I just liked the fast money and the lifestyle and the things and experiences that it brought me.
And what are common mistakes that you feel like girls make that could be easily avoided if they knew what you know now?
The number one mistakes that a lot of girls make is not in the game when they first get in it. They don't, might not necessarily know, about the pimping and hoeing part of it. They might just be out there renegading, and that to me isn't, safe. You don't have anybody to manage your money. You don't have anybody for protection. You don't have any of that. You don't have a support system, because my folks is my number one support system. My folks and my wifeys are truly the most important thing to me.
What are your friends like?
My friends, I really don't have any friends outside of the game. I have my wifeys and my daddy, but other than that, I have, my blood family.
Okay, how old were you when you lost your virginity?
I believe I was 15 or 16. I was in high school.
Okay, do you role play with clients?
I do get into the fetishes and the role play if that's something that they're willing to pay for. It's not something that's included in my standard rates. It's something they have to pay extra for.
What defines a sexy woman to you?
Just someone who has confidence. It's not always about looks or size or anything like that. It's just someone who has confidence in themselves and knows what they want out of life and knows where they're going and what they're doing.
So has a trick ever had a physical abnormality that made you not want to take the call?
No, because at the end of the day, again, I don't judge I'm not into it for looks because of the majority of tricks that, not saying that there aren't good looking tricks where if I wasn't in the game and I was square that I might not be attracted to, but, if they have money, that's what turns me on. That's what I'm attracted to. So, it's never come to anything like that where I've, turned down a date because of looks.
Do you have a signature move that you use to get things going more quickly?
Not really. I mean, I don't have any specific moves, but a lot of tricks and a lot of my regulars. I even had one just today earlier that came back specifically because of my head game.
So,
I'm not trying to brag, but that's what a lot of them come back for, and it's in a couple of my titles that I use for my ads, so.
So how often would you say guys leave your spot unsatisfied or that you return their money?
I've never returned money. Once it touches my hands, it does not go back. If they're unsatisfied, I really could count on one hand in my entire career the times that they've actually told me. Otherwise, it's something that if they were unsatisfied, I had no idea.
And what's the most annoying thing that tricks do?
The most annoying thing to me is probably when they try to come in and, they're just paying the standard basic rate, whatever that, is for the amount of time. And they want the world. They want to turn you upside down. They expect you to do gymnastics and tricks, and they want to kiss all over you, and they want to actually, make love to you or have that girlfriend experience. And, GFE is definitely not something I do, but they still want to try, and you gotta tell them no, and they sometimes still don't understand.
So, complete this statement. If a trick tries to kiss me, I
turn my neck the other way. There is no way they are getting a kiss from me. The closest they might get, and it's just if they come out of nowhere, they might be able to, kiss me on the cheek or something like that. But usually I can see it coming and will turn my neck or, depending on the position we're in, get away from it or dodge it somehow.
Do you do anal, and if so, do you charge extra?
I'm open to the idea of it, but if I will do it, it's something that I will charge extra for. I'm new to it. I'm pretty much a virgin at it, I would call myself. So it's gonna really depend on the specific client. I couldn't handle anything that big at this time.
Are you dating anyone?
No, I'm not dating. I have my folks and my team, and that's all that I have.
How many threesomes have you been in, and did you enjoy it?
I have never been in a threesome in the game. Outside the game, I have had one, and I did enjoy it.
And do you ever get turned on during work?
No. A trick does not turn me on. The only thing that makes me happy is the money and then being able to break myself to my daddy.
And tits or ass?
I prefer tits. As you can see, mine are definitely not small. I like mine. I'm proud of them. It's probably my favorite or my best feature about myself, or my body part. My favorite body part, I guess you could say.
That's it. Wrapping this interview up. So, in closing, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the 304 Life world, community, or the other people out there?
I mean, all I can say to the ladies is stay down to come up. I hope you're happy in your situation and that you get to the top. But if not, you can always come home. But that's pretty much it. XOXO, this was Casey Cakes, signing off for 304life.com.